Now this is ancient Kemet right here, and you can be seeing the similarity between the picture of the man on the back, on the side, and the female on the left. And also let's look at the synonymous headgear of the god Asar being elongated as such. So my proclamation to the world is that my family has always been the calibrators of all these planets in this universe that are owned by my mother. So it's real simple. Your consciousness is what's going to decide where you're going to go after all of the issues of earth changes are made, considered here on this planet. Your consideration of placement is based on your adjustment of your vibrations after you get exposed to the words of the Buddha. That would be me. Let's go on with this.
Ape is identical. Do Stanley Hall's artifacts show evidence that
See, if we listen to the white man, he'll tell you this is aliens. You can see Napoleon. Was it, let me see, it was Napoleon that came out here. Was this Napoleon did this? Napoleon Bonaparte did it, or either you had Napoleon and the other one, which was Napoleon Bonaparte and the other little rebel. I can't think of his name. The other little devil, I should say. One of them went out there and shot the face off. It wasn't Alexander, I don't think. It was Napoleon. In one of my segments, I said it was Alexander who had went out here and vandalized this artifact, this beautiful piece of work here that depicts a pharaoh, an Egyptian pharaoh. You can see he had his Uraeus snake up on his head, the brown, beautiful nose shot off. You can see representation of his pineal gland being open right there. They deliberately shot the face up because they were disgusted at the beautiful African features that gave substantiated proof to all civilizations existing off of the launching of this great melanated civilization that was actually launched off of a great Ethiopian civilization that was actually launched off of a great Tanzanian civilization. There was temple remnants all up and down the Nile Valley that go back into antiquity of dates as to where it still remain in the small stone rubbles that people walk over every day without a clue of the origin of the rubbles. But these European people went out here and they were so upset they vandalized this beautiful contribution to the world because it was not theirs. And to this day we have all, me at 52 and people older and greater than me, we have all graduated from school and received all type of PhDs, doctors, you name it. And not one time did any teacher tell us in school of this belonging to the civilization of the people that we butchered and chopped up and made Christians and turned into our oppressed slaves after they gave us knowledge. That's what we did in return to them. What good people, what good Christians we all are.
Egyptian culture could have crossed the ocean to influence South American culture.
That's absolutely what happened. Not influence, was the influence. They didn't influence anyone. They were influenced that way when
the
they
head
ended
shape
up there.
is identical.
See?
Do Stanley Hall's
the same.
artifacts show evidence that Egyptian culture could have crossed the ocean to...
There goes there. There's the proof there. This is a step pyramid. It's real simple. And here goes the same sun striking the point of existence right on the top with the woman that I always tell you about walking on earth. Right there. Which means they placed this structure right where they knew it would have this interaction with the sunlight. Which means these people, like he said a while back, headhunters. You're not a headhunter if you're making structures like this. I mean, you know math specifics. Okay, you are already making calculations of specific volume. Alright, and all this stuff going on, but then all of a sudden you forget all that intelligence and be a damn savage and go hunt somebody's head. The niggas who came here and killed all these people and chopped their heads off and stole their gold and raped all their women were the headhunters. That's going to have to answer to God right here. So they could call us headhunters and everything they want to, but we all know that you are really intelligent when you start making these type of structures like this all over the planet. So you would not be falling under the category of a headhunter. A headhunter would be a selfish, warmongering, self-hating. I ain't gonna say no more. They would probably have a whole history of theft, lies, and wars.
Influenced South American culture? Or is it possible that both were influenced by another culture?
No, they were all the same culture that was made from the sun, though staggered around the planet, still manifestations of sunlight. Simple.
One from beyond our world.
See, they always want to tell you that. That means they separate this sector from that sector when it's all one sector. Imagine the hair of a cat separating itself from each other. This is the European way of visualizing things. You can't see things like that. You need to see things from a holistic point of view, meaning that the earth and the moon and the sun are all one. Just like you have 2 feet on your body. It'd be foolish to see 1 feet as being 1 feet and another feet as another feet, instead of seeing that which encompasses all as being your unique body system that comprises of these different important elements, but yet one element, one unity. That's the reason you can't take your feet off and leave it somewhere else and then come back and get it.
If so, were the strange writings inscribed on Father Crespi's metal tablets actual messages from an alien world?
Messages from God. Now you see this hole right here? You see how the sunlight comes through that hole? It goes through all type of shafts and everything, all the way into the recesses of whatever tunnel system is here that made this for the specific purpose of supplying light to it. So there are big holes all around the planet now that the European mills is starting to claim that are mining holes. And it's like, this is a weird way of mining. Because I was going over that in my head and thinking about why would they do this way. Then I rehearsed around a method that would make it spiral like that, and it all came up to be cost ineffective plus ineffective time management. So it didn't make sense. So what makes sense now is, as you can look at this and you can see these grooves in here, these are the same grooves that is synonymous with a lot of the sea codes they call them around the planet. Well, that's just something I want to point out. It seemed to me like these are perforated grooves, meaning that they were purposely made.
My father went as far as saying it was possibly an advanced civilization, but we can't know for certain until this library is found.
As you can see, the grooves go all the way to the bottom. Like a piece of drilling machinery drilled this hole. That's what it looks like. And if it did, what happened is, when it went further into the ground, they filled the hole back up, and this cavity could be filled with water. At one time it was. I can show you one in the Bermuda Triangle that's completely filled with water. At one time this probably was too. I didn't mean to say the Bermuda Triangle, I just meant to say in Bermuda.
So this metallic library is still there in Ecuador, in a subterranean cave. Since there are still Indian tribes living there, they are still protecting the old treasure.
So it's going to push the boundaries of academia once this cave system has been found. And whether it is Inca or extraterrestrial, it doesn't really matter at this moment in time. Let's get to this cave and see what is in there.
In other words, let's go pillage and plunder and get the gold. See, it's not about education with these people, because if it was, they would have told you that the African civilizations of Egypt, Sinai, all over the planet is where all knowledge came from. No, it's about them wanting to be supreme over everything, even if it means lying and murdering everyone, covering up the truth.
Perhaps Taos has yet to reveal all of its secrets. But more than 700 miles to the north, there is another cave. One that may prove that the Mayan underworld and the terrifying gods who ruled it were not only very real.
Okay, in Asia, you can see these same faces like this, and he says the terrifying gods. You can see the spirals around his head, okay? You can see the synonymous spirals like you just saw spiraling around in the sinkhole, okay? Now look, All this stuff right here is not just something that's coincidental. These spiral grooves right here is because of representation of consciousness. Which groove are you going to be in? Where is your mindset going to be at? These people carved this thing in stone years ago because of their ability to have sun-like knowledge. When you have sun-like knowledge and a desire to do something, you can do it. This is grand work by grand people, God and goddesses. Europeans have never pulled anything like this off. They're too busy warring and trying to conquer the people who can do this all the time. Once they conquer us, they got to make sure we can never return to this greatness. And that's why the world is stagnated with their stupidity. And as you can see, barbarism again and destruction. Cannons shot to destroy the Africoid features. That's all they do is destroy our history and destroy our contributions to the world so they can sit around and push their fake ass Jesus on us. But they are just perpetuators of nothing but violence and outward death and demise and destruction. Of all of everything we've ever brought to the earth, they destroy it. Here's the proof right here. Every time you see our antiquity of grand accomplishments, you will see their butchery, their barbarism, their vandalism, traces of their sorrow, tears, and bloodshed capabilities everywhere throughout all remnants of our history.
Real, but thirst.
Now these people right here that they're going to call something other than time travelers. They might call them time travelers too. But they're going to just neglect to say the fact that these people here in America, as well as the people in Africa, all are part of elaborate time traveling. And these extraterrestrial vessels that we know as light ship have always taken these people and left them at places and later to come back and get them. Does be the case right now. You guys are busted for the bullshit you've been doing.
D for human blood.
See, these people were not bloodthirsty for human blood. That's the Europeans. They always say that about everybody else. But we know everywhere they go around the world, they have murdered people and turned them into their servants. Everywhere you go, Hawaii, the Bahamas, the Caribbean, Americas, everywhere you go, people are always servants to them because they come in with guns and steal all the resources and force you to work for them by building hotels and houses and everything on your land and making you pay rent to live in it after they cut all the damn trees. All these trees are turned into beachfront hotels on the Lee Drive. And then the local people who lived there forever and supported themselves off this ocean can't go to the ocean anymore. So they turn your daughters into crank addicts and drinking alcohol, smoking cigarettes, and fucking white boys, diluting the blackness out of you. See, no more of this stuff will be existing when they get through. It'll be wrong for you to have this hut here on the beach. But then as soon as they come and tear your hut down, you see a big ass hotel pop up.
The Yucatan Peninsula. One of Mexico's premier tourist destinations. Besides scenic beaches, the area is covered by thick jungle and pockmarked by massive sinkholes known as cenotes.
That's what I'm saying. This is the antiquity of these sinkholes. And as you can see, filled with water, like I said. So we be sitting around thinking they're lakes and rivers and things like that. But the true reality to them is that they are sinkholes, and the earth have always opened these sinkholes up to swallow the wicked ass people on the earth. And that's just what it is. The pits to hell that a lot of you people are getting ready to take your asses and jump in them. When those fires start burning real good and corral all your asses to this sinkhole, you're going to know then why your ass should have brought that green light.
The ground beneath the jungle is also honeycombed with caves.